That's fundamentally what this is all about, what you are all about. You haven't given in to the cynicism, you haven't given in to the fear and the anxiety that marks so much of our politics today. You are the antidote to that cynicism, fear, and anxiety. You are showing up for yourself, but you're also showing up for each other. And I just want to thank you. That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm back from California, here in South Carolina. Just to thank you for not giving up. Last time I was here, I wasn't so sure. I mean it. You know, we all watched. You know, we're in a battle in this country between the forces of transformation and forces of restoration. Those that want to put America in reverse, bring us back to a 1960s, pre-1960s world. You've seen it across the board on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights. We've seen it across the board. These guys are censoring historical facts. They're quite literally rewriting history. They're on a banning binge, banning not just abortion, but speech, banning books. 4,340 books were banned last year. What do all have in common? It's an extraordinary moment in American history. But the moments that mark so much of our consciousness is we have a president who's back, who tried to wreck this country. He tried to light democracy on fire on January 6th. He thinks democracy is for suckers. I was just in Fulton County yesterday. Just being reminded, what more do you need reminded? That phone call of Donald Trump. I need 12,000 votes. And I thought, all right, that's maybe the peak Trump. Until I picked up the morning newspaper and woke up and said that Donald Trump had called Greg Abbott, saying he's quote-unquote entitled to 5 seats. Think about that. The President of the United States said he's entitled to 5 seats. And of course, Greg Abbott said, yes, sir. Yes, sir, and here it was, President of the United States trying to rig yet again the 2026 election before one vote was even cast. He is not screwing around. And so the question is, are we? Are we going to be complicit in this moment? Are we going to try to shape the future? For things to change, we have to change. We have to do things differently, fundamentally. And that's the approach we've taken. That's the approach I've tried to take with your support, and it's been extraordinary. In California, we had an opportunity to respond to what happened in Texas. And, you know, I imagine Trump just thought I was going to write an op-ed, trying to win an argument. You know, and that's so often the case. I love we just want to be right and convince people with the facts. You know, meanwhile they're consolidating power on the other side. And so we decided instead to fight fire with fire, and we stepped out and we fought back. And you know what's amazing about that? It was called Prop 50 for a reason, because it wasn't about California. It was about all of us. It was about the United States of America. It was about our republic. It was about the best of the Roman Republic, the best of Greek democracy. It's about co-equal branches of government. It's about popular sovereignty. It's about the rule of law, not the rule of dawn. And so I hope it's dawning on everybody. We've got our work cut out for us. Amen. And that's why I'm here. To continue to remind you and encourage you, because what's so extraordinary now is you're seeing all across this country people waking up and meeting this moment. How about the steel of the people in Minneapolis? How about what they did? They stepped in their world. Donald Trump is in retreat right now. We were just talking about it. Crystal, Roger, Sean, we were all just in the back talking about it. He is in retreat. We said it a moment ago. You saw the new numbers just this morning. He's an historic president. historically unpopular president. And that's because of all of you. The No Kings rally, people showing up, people inspiring others. Courage is contagious. People recognize and they're reconciling that we have to meet this moment. But again, the right is ruthless. These propaganda networks, the surround sound 24/7. None of us are naive. The asymmetry of One American News and Newsmax and what's happening on right-wing radio and right-wing podcasts, the asymmetry is real. So we got to punch a little bit above our weight. Now, if you see my social media, trying to do that. If my mom were still alive, I'm not sure I'd be able to continue to do it. But we just got to iterate. We got to try new things. Because right now, this guy is flooding the zone. It's shock and awe. Right? 24/7. Shock and awe. Dominating the narrative. Dominating the narrative. And you know what? That's my issue more than anything else. Isn't that been the case for years and years and years? I mean, what's CRT? Can someone still explain to me what the CRT in middle schools? Doesn't exist. ESG, DEI. They've shape-shifted. You saw it in places like Florida. They were dominating the narrative, and we are on our back heels consistently and constantly. We've got to get back on our toes. We've got to get back in there. We have to define the terms of engagement. And that's when we're at our best, the Democratic Party. I remember years and years ago, Donald Trump, it was one of those tough midterm elections prior to Trump, where we got shellacked. And Bill Clinton was asked, just as the old wise man might be, what does the Democratic Party need to do? And he made a point that really stuck home with me, and I imagine maybe with many of you, and you'll recall this. He said, given the choice, the American people will always support strong and wrong versus weak and right. This notion of conviction, this notion of strength, again, you saw that in Minneapolis. We're not going to back down. What all dictators have in common is a perception of power. But in reality, like all dictators, Donald Trump is nothing more than weakness masquerading as strength. And so, I hope we all know that, and it's reflected in this moment. And so I just want to reflect all of you in this moment. And just thank you for being part of this narrative. Thank you for being part of this story. Thank you for being here for, yes, the Democratic Party. Thank you for being here and why we are here in District 1 for June 9th in this critical primary. I get we all want to focus on the guy or gal that comes save the day, the romantic notion, and we'll, have West Wing music on in the background, 2028, but there is no 2028 until we win 2026.
Right.
It is all about 2026. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm going to close up here in a second. When we kicked off the campaign, what we referred to as the Election Rigging Response Act to what was happening in Texas, we kicked it off at the Democracy Center in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. It's a sacred site where we were interning the Japanese. A sacred site, well known, well defined as a sacred site. And again, the Democracy Center. There were hundreds and hundreds of community leaders, faith leaders, who were members of every conceivable elected office, from 2 U.S. senators to a dozen members of Congress, and there were a bunch of masked men. Secret police. And one guy out front trying to intimidate people walking in, and one guy who literally looked like he came off a movie set from the 1930s by the name of Bovino. Greg Bovino. Remember, it happened in California first. This was just a few months After 4,000 National Guard were federalized in the state of California, 700 active duty Marines were not sent overseas. They were sent to the second largest city in the United States of America. The full militarization, almost 5,000 troops in one city. A war against his own country, Donald Trump. But when I saw the masked men with no identification, I said at the time, that is a preview of things to come. We've seen what's played out in D.C. We've seen what's played out in Chicago. We've seen what's played out in Minneapolis. We're seeing all across this country smaller scenes played out. These guys are not screwing around. I don't say it lightly. It's all about 2026. You are more important than you've ever been. It's winning races that people don't believe we can win. It's showing up when people don't think we will. It's organizing. It's focusing with intention to meet the moment that is presented to us. We have an extraordinary opportunity. And by the way, don't get me started on the person that left this scene, Nancy Mace. I just want to make sure I was in the right audience. But you have an extraordinary opportunity, some folks here and others. And you know this better than I. I'll close on this. Your vote is your voice. Your voice is your power. So we need to hear that voice loud and clear on June 9th. And then in November. And then we'll have the opportunity, after Election Day in November, of waking up, going to the porch, opening up that morning newspaper, and seeing Speaker Jeffries with the gavel in his hand. And faith and oversight restored in this country. Thank you guys very, very much. Thank you guys very much.